Welcome to the We Win Ninja Law podcast, everybody. I'm Tyler Todd, your host, sitting here with my co-host, Jaron, the Snow Canyon Man Sandberg. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
This is going to be an interesting podcast because I have a lot of feelings about it, which I don't know why or how, or I don't know. And you have to be super careful when you talk about the Holy War.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say the Holy War, you kind of already, especially in Utah, you already know what we're talking about.
It's BYU football versus the Utes.
It's BYU versus Utah. I mean, I just have so many feelings about, look.
Well, disclaimer.
All right.
One of us here went to BYU and one of us didn't. So I think people should know that up front.
Who do you think went to BYU?
Well, you know what? I bet if a straw poll was taken, they'd probably guess maybe more me. I don't know.
I would say probably, yeah, they'd guess you for sure.
But you did do a semester
I did
at BYU.
At BYU.
So we need to. And it was probably, I'd known Tyler for probably 6 years before he disclosed that. I feel like it was hidden from me.
We're going to get into all of that stuff on this podcast, but I want to make sure that everybody is aware, and this is something that's super exciting because it is the Holy War. So if many of you out there don't really know what the Holy War is, it is BYU football versus the University of Utah football teams. Now, there's a lot. We're going to get into the origin, the early years, and why this is so iconic. I mean, it's one of the best rivalries in sports, I think.
Yeah.
Right. And to be fair, it's not just sports. It's just a rivalry.
Yeah.
University of Utah versus BYU and all the different feelings and emotions and cultural, like why that even is. But we're giving away 2 tickets to the Holy War, October 18th. And a $500 gift card, so you guys can do dinner, you can do whatever you want, you can go out, get a bunch of Cougar tails. It's going to be at LaVell Stadium in Provo, Utah. So we're going to get more into that, but I wanted to throw that out there, that little dangling hook, if you will. And we're going to tell you how to enter at the end. 2 tickets to the Holy War.
Let's go.
I don't even care.
Okay.
At first, I was like,
let's talk. Last 20 years, how many of the actual game? How often have you watched it when they've had it? Because there was a hiatus, and we can get into that. But
me personally,
do you watch it every year?
I mean, just for this, I'm about to spit. I'm so excited. Just for the simple like rivalry of it, I've seen it, but I don't like. You were asking. We were talking about this yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, you remember that game? And I'm like, nope. You remember that? And I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
I love Utah. And I've lived here for 20 years, but I was born and raised in Virginia. I was born and raised on the East Coast. And I just don't have the connection. And you just said it, I went to BYU for a semester. I graduated from BYU, Hawaii. And then I went to another school that is now known as BYU, Idaho. So
shout out to Rick's. Long live Rick's College.
That just dated myself. So I mean, you would think that I have like this BYU,
affinity. You went to Hawaii and
yeah. But I also say that, look, I'm a BYU Hawaii Seasider, not a BYU Provo Cougar, and to me those are 2 different things. So I just haven't really cared. I mean, honestly, for whatever reason. And so I get it and I love it. And I have friends and family members that are all in,
deeply
on the rivalry. Like, they are pure through and through Utah Ute. And then I have family and friends that are all in Cougar Blue and like diehard BYU fans but let's get into the origin.
So they've been playing each other, 90, almost 100 times?
Yeah.
62 wins. University of Utah's got a pretty big lead.
Utah has 62 wins.
Yeah. 36 losses and 4 ties.
So, I mean, I don't know. To me, that's overwhelmingly like they've got the edge.
Now, if you look back, if I recall, when LaVell Edwards kind of brought the BYU program out of, again, don't call me a BYU history buff because I'm not. But as I recall, it was kind of one side. It was a one-sided rivalry for a long time.
For a long time with LaVell. And look, say what you will about not the lopsided number of wins, but pretty close. To my knowledge, BYU between the two is the only one with a national championship.
Yeah, a voted national championship. Was that 84 or something?
I mean, Jim McMahon. As far as I understand, they were the national champions.
Again, agree to disagree. Now, this is where some context is necessary. So fair. I didn't go to University of Utah or BYU in any, affiliate school. I went to Utah State. And if you go to Utah State, you just hate BYU. You actually don't care about the University of Utah, except that people confuse the two sometimes. If you say,
you've mentioned that. What's the
I don't know if it's like
context of that.
If it's just the biggest school they play sometimes, because University of Utah rarely scheduled anything against Utah State, and BYU for a long time scheduled things. But I do remember there was an ESPN article about rivalries, and it didn't mention the rivalry, but it had a picture of this banner that was hung in the end zone at Utah State versus BYU game that said, BYU, keeping ugly girls out of Utah State since 1888. And I just remember that was featured on the ESPN, the magazine. It was kind of fun. But I always joke, and I've said this to you before, it's the biggest rivalry that only one side knows about.
Right.
Because BYU doesn't ever think of Utah State
as
University
being the rival
from up in Logan as being the rival. It's clearly the University of Utah.
Sure.
So even my kids will joke hey, Dad, what's that? I'm like, that's BYU. Oh, yeah, that is the worst school in the whole country. They know that.
Right.
But it's not for that. It's just mostly, again, that Utah State. So in this game, every year, I always root for the University of Utah.
Right.
But because, again, if you go to Utah State, you don't like BYU. And here's another big reason is for the longest time, Utah State had the navy dark blue. And BYU always had this really ugly royal blue.
Right. Really ugly.
Really hideously ugly royal blue. And what did they do? They stole Utah State's blue. And they went a little darker, and it's been that way for a while now. And so stole our colors. That's maybe that's it.
Well, and I appreciate you acknowledging that you're an Aggie, right?
Utah State Aggie.
And I feel like I'm kind of an Aggie. My daughter's there.
Yeah.
I'm paying tuition there. So I'm an Aggie, right?
Well, and you tell me this, if I had two shirts equally whatever, one's a Utah State shirt, one's a BYU, you would pick the Utah State shirt.
All day long, 1,000%. Yeah.
Now, if I had a Utah State, University of Utah, and BYU, which one would you pick?
Well, at the moment, Utah State.
Yeah, Utah State.
For sure, yeah.
So we're being transparent about it.
We're pretty transparent. I mean, I didn't go to school there, but I'm an Aggie. My daughter's there. I think she's going to graduate from there, so...
Now, this is the one thing I will say about this game. In years past, right, because you get, there is a lot of buzz in Utah when it comes to this game. And it does seem like no matter how good or bad one team has played all season, the team that's had a terrible season rises to the occasion during this game. So it is a rivalry that the players care about.
Oh, it's a rivalry. And I don't think that you might ask them and they might tell you that the win-loss record may be inconsequential as compared to who won this game.
Yeah.
I mean, in Utah, this is the game.
This is the game.
Right? This is Barcelona, Real Madrid. This is, I think, Yankees versus the Red Sox.
I think if the Utah Jazz, which are our only major sports franchise, if they were I guess we have the hockey now, but I think if it was a Game 7 Utah Jazz, I think more people would care about that BYU University of Utah game than the Utah Jazz being a Game 7 of the finals.
I totally agree. I don't even think the Jazz have a rival, do they?
No.
I mean...
This is the rivalry game.
This is the rivalry game, and I would say I believe it's one of the biggest rivalry games in the country, maybe the world. It just is.
It is a big game.
And so you take all of the cultural, religious, all of the kind of factors that kind of go into this game, there's a lot of feelings and emotion in the fans or from the fans of these two teams.
Yeah.
And it goes deeper, and that's kind of maybe why, the way I started, it goes way deeper than sports. Now, did you know what the oldest university in Utah is?
I would have thought University of Utah just with Salt Lake.
It is. It's
Okay.
University of Utah. But people, so BYU, I don't know if people realize that it's Brigham Young University. Okay. I don't know if people around the country realize that. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Like when you hear like Texas Tech Aggies, do you know why like it's Texas Tech or even Utah State Aggies? I mean, you know that Utah State Aggies are the same as the no, not Texas Tech, Texas A&M.
Well, and it used to be Utah State Agriculture and Mining.
Right. And the Texas A&M, I mean, I know Texas A&M, I know the Aggies, but I never really like, what's the A&M stand for, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious whether people actually know what BYU stands for, Brigham Young University. And it's named after Brigham Young because the Mormon pioneers who came to Utah and settled Salt Lake, essentially, right?
Yeah.
It was Brigham Young was the prophet and the president of the church at that time.
Yeah.
So I think, and I could be wrong, but I think a lot of people think in Utah that BYU was like the church or the school and the first, and like it's like the school.
Yeah.
But University of Utah was the first school. I don't even know when BYU was founded. Do you know when BYU was founded?
The only reason I think it's 1888 was because of that banner.
That's when that
was,
first,
when
yeah,
that
maybe
banner.
the very first game they had.
Yeah.
It's an interesting rivalry.
So University of Utah is February 28th, 1850. So this is like pioneer handcart,
like, yeah,
right in the thick of it. And then let me see BYU.
1875. So 25
They got
years
25 years on them.
on them. Yeah, that's significant.
And presumably both churches or
churches,
both schools started when the population of Utah was 99% Mormon.
Mormon. Yeah. Okay.
So both founded likely by basically Mormons.
Right. So is it fair? And I'm curious of your comments, comment. Is it fair to say that most Mormons are BYU fans?
I think if you're the atypical sports person, so you don't have like an affinity for any sports team, then you're naturally a BYU fan.
Yeah.
I would say that's more, because like I would never cheer for BYU.
Right. But you do find that BYU travels well because when BYU plays like in Arizona, or they play in Nevada, Las Vegas, or they go to California, or they go back east, they have a pretty strong contingency of fans that show up.
Because of the Mormon connection.
The Mormon connection and the Mormon population, or whatever state they're playing in, they'll show up.
Yeah.
Right? If BYU's playing in Florida, there's going to be a pretty strong number of BYU fans that show up.
Yeah.
Just because
and it's not that it's all people from Provo traveling.
Right.
Like you get with some of these other big schools. No, this is most of those states, if they have any type of Mormon population, that people are coming.
Yeah, they're gonna go
and I think that was a big push around when BYU didn't have a conference and why their media rights were so much, worth so much more than the University of Utah's was they do have a kind of a national fan base because of the Mormon population.
So they went independent for a few years, right? Kind of like they tried to do the whole Notre Dame thing, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it backfired?
Well, I think for football, it was successful. It was just all their other sports. So I know this because I went to Gonzaga and was, for law school. They had to figure out for their other sports because they didn't have a good enough basketball team, and all their other sports had to find a conference. Because what do you do for like all of the Title IX sports, like volleyball and all these other things? You have to have a conference. And so the reason I know before when they picked the Pacific Conference was mostly because all of those schools didn't have a football program.
Gotcha.
So it was a natural fit, but it wasn't like a competitive conference. That was, if you're going to.
So kind of a backfire.
Backfire for all the other sports besides football. For football, I think they made a ton of money.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I mean, that's another thing too, where you're kind of like, all right, BYU, are you in this for the money? What are you in this for?
Well, in their recent signing of the basketball player for $7 million NIL money or whatever.
I mean, it's
not about the money.
It's the number one, the potentially number one draft pick in the NBA. I mean, he'll probably be at BYU for 1 year.
1 year, $7 million.
Yeah, $7 million. Now, I'm not saying BYU paid that, but the boosters certainly did.
Yeah.
$7 million to a high school athlete. So about the money, I don't know. But again, that goes to the kind of like the deep
context of this.
Context, cultural, what is it? So with all
Saints
the
versus sinners. I mean, that's been if you're a BYU diehard, they look at Salt Lake again with a thumb towards well, this is a party school, and there's all that stuff that goes with it when it's it's
that's
basically
not
like every
that's not even in our notes.
it's just every
The Saints versus
but that's what you hear is like that reason
it
it's a holy
is.
war is not because it's both of them being holy. I don't think that's ever been the
I
allegation.
think they tried to get the when BYU was independent, right? I feel like there was a push by the national media to get BYU and Notre Dame to be like the holy war, right? The
Yeah,
Catholics versus the Mormons. And I think for all intents and purposes, when they play each other, there is some of that.
yeah.
But I really think it's the saints versus
It's
sinners.
the Saints versus the
It
sinners.
is
I mean,
it is the
even though again, I wouldn't say that University of Utah is any more of a they don't have a reputation like maybe Arizona does or some of these other that are true party schools. But compared to the honor code at BYU, yeah, University of Utah does look like a party school, and really every community college in Utah or anything else looks like a party school compared to BYU.
it's like the scarlet letter
Yeah.
that the players and cheerleaders and fans wear. It feels like that's
Yeah.
the red of the Utes
Yeah.
versus the ugly royal blue of the Cougars. It's just crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's wild to think. And if you guys are listening outside of Utah, there may not be a lot of context, but if you live in Utah or have any connection to the University of Utah and BYU, you know exactly what we're talking about. And it's just a wild rivalry because I feel like legit families are like almost divided in
Yeah.
regards to whether they're like a Utah Ute fan or a BYU Cougar fan, and it goes deep.
Yeah. As you lose religious fervor, you then migrate to the other team. Or as you gain more religious fervor, I think you migrate. I think you see that. You do see that a little.
Now, I have seen a number of people that are like, diehard BYU fans, and they may not be Mormon.
Yeah.
And I've seen that the other way too,
Yeah.
where they're not even Mormon, but they are BYU
Yeah.
fans. And I've seen it the other way too, where it's just, hey, I went to University of Utah. I live in Utah. I'm a University of Utah
Plenty
fan.
of good Mormons, bad Mormons, vice on both teams. I mean,
Whatever that bad Mormon may mean. But yes. So you see it all.
yeah.
But the rivalry is real. The emotions are raw, and I think they're quite real. I just wonder, like,
And we hope for a close game.
we want a good game, October 18th. So
I hope it's a good game.
you guys, to win tickets to the Holy War, like I said at the start, we have 2 tickets to win. Go to our Instagram page. Okay, so I'm going to read you the rules. Here we go. Follow. So you got to follow us at We Win Injury Law on Instagram. You got to like the post, and you got to tag your game day partner in the comment. So each tag equals 1 entry. There's a bonus entry. Share the post to your story and tag us. Okay, so tag We Win Injury Law, and you'll get a bonus entry. And then winners are announced, let's say October 1st. That gives you enough time to plan. That gives you probably approximately 2 weeks to plan your epic Holy War adventure. 2 tickets, a $500 gift card. We know that every law firm gives away, not every, but there's a lot of law firms that give tickets away. But we're giving you the ultimate Holy War experience. 2 tickets, $500 gift certificate, and we're going to be talking about it over the next, what, 8 weeks,
Yeah.
approximately, about this game, about the giveaway, about the emotions, about the rivalry, about the feelings that come. Like, I have feelings. I mean, it's weird because, like I said, I grew up outside of Utah. I live in Utah. My dad graduated from BYU. He is a BYU fan through and through. And then I have a brother-in-law who kicked for BYU during the LaVell Edwards days. Bill Hanson. Well, shout out to Bill. So the BYU fandom runs deep in my family, but I also, on my in-law side, runs deep with University of Utah. And the feelings are passionate. So
red runs deep.
Oh, so much. I mean, they were all raised in Florida, and I thought they were like Gator fans for life, but now it's Utah.
To Utah.
It's Utah. So The feelings are real. The emotions are next level. Hopefully it's a great game, but it's also mid-October, so it does have some impact on the conference
Yeah.
as they're both now are in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So not only is it a holy war game, there's a lot of it's a pride thing, maybe a religious thing, definitely a state.
Well, it was always fun when it always seems like it was one of the last games of the season,
Yeah.
because it really was like a couple of the years it was the way that Utah punched their ticket into the BCS bowl games was by beating BYU.
And they've done that a couple times.
Yeah. So,
And to my knowledge, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think BYU has ever been to a BCS bowl game.
I don't think they have.
No. So Utah's got the edge on that too.
Yeah.
So look, it's going to be awesome. Find us on Instagram. Our handle's at We Win Injury Law. You got to tag us, post it, share it, and share it with your
Who you wanna
partner,
go with.
who you want to go with. You got to tell us in the comments too about why you are a fan of either team and why you want to go to this game.
Well, I like that.
Okay. I'm curious about the emotions. So please comment on this podcast or find us on Instagram or find us on TikTok and comment. We're going to be making lots of posts about it. So I'm curious about your stories about what makes the rivalry meaning to you. Is it just because you live in Utah or you went to one of the schools? Is it a religious thing? Are you a saint or a sinner or both?
A little bit of both.
Tell us about it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be epic.
We want to hear more about the sinners that are still BYU fans and vice versa. That's the Saints that are still the Utes fans. I mean, come on.
All of it. I want to hear about it.
I want it.
I want to hear about it because it's good stuff, and we all have our journeys, and we all have our feelings, and we all have our respective thoughts and emotions about it, and they're real. And so that's what makes it so awesome because it's not just a football thing. It is a very much cultural state. There's a lot of emotions that go into this game, even though it's just a football game.
Yeah.
So tell us about it. I want to hear your opinions. Enter to win. It should be a fun, exciting thing to do, and we're gonna keep talking about it. So until next podcast, everybody. Good afternoon.